Hi, and welcome to another dose of virtual vitamin Z. This is DZS News for the week of May 10th, 2021. I'm your co-host, Stephen.
And I'm your co-host, Claire. We're going to jump right into some Detroit Zoological Society updates. And if I say so myself, we have some pretty exciting ones this week. Starting off with the announcement of a joey, which is a baby wallaby or a baby kangaroo. In this case, it is a baby wallaby. The wallaby was born back in October. So when baby joeys are born, they spend the first several months of their life completely in their mother's pouches, which is why the baby is just kind of now poking out and peeking around, and guests can see him or her. We don't know if it's a male or female just yet, but they can see them out in the Australian Outback Adventure, which is a walkthrough immersive experience here at the zoo. And mom is Eloise. This is her first joey, and she's doing a great job. She's very protective. And this is the first wallaby baby to be born at the Detroit Zoo since 2010. So it's been a little while.
So Claire, what do you call a baby wallaby who's wearing a tuxedo?
Fancy?
A Joseph.
Oh, I see what you did there.
Next up, we have more, and I think that this is super fitting given that yesterday was Mother's Day, but we have an update on the baby Japanese macaque who was born to mom Madeline. And we actually have some incredible video of those two interacting. And I think as adorable as the baby is, I just also love seeing that maternal instinct at play with Madeline, how she's so protective, so watchful, so caring. It's really heartwarming to watch.
Yeah, it's been a lot of fun to go out. Sometimes it's a little hard to find her. You have to spend a few extra minutes kind of walking around the habitat space, but it's totally worth the extra time and extra effort. There's several youngsters now out in the Japanese macaque space, so there's always someone up to something out there. And we are still in the running for the Devereaux Tiger Forest being one of the top 10 best zoo exhibits. So we have the link up there where you can vote on a daily basis and move us up in the rankings there. The Devereaux Tiger Forest is an amazing expansion of the previous tiger habitat and home to 3 tigers currently. It's a great space. If you haven't visited the zoo recently, it's definitely worth making the trip out to see it. So please consider voting for us and vote often.
And I will add there, I know that we're asking you to vote for it, but we really do feel confident that this is an exemplary animal habitat and exhibit that highlights animal welfare, conservation, sustainability, and humane education. So it's really a signature piece at the DZS and the Detroit Zoo. And so check it out. And we're confident that even if you look around, you'll still feel, you know what, yes, this is definitely worth voting for.
Agreed. Stephen, I've been waiting all week for an update on the peregrine falcons. What is happening up in that nest box?
So as a reminder, the Detroit Zoo's water tower has a nest box with a live camera in it, so we can see in real time what is going on up in Peregrine Heights. All right, Claire, back to you for our feature story.
All right, so we are very pleased to add a new member of our DZS family, and we are welcoming Rochelle Spence as our Senior Communications Manager. And Rochelle had a few minutes as she's getting to learn all the ropes and everything about the Detroit Zoological Society to sit down with us and talk to us a little bit about her role here, where she came from, and what she's excited about. So let's meet Rochelle.
For this week's feature story, we are interviewing Rochelle Spence, the DZS's new Senior Communications Manager. Thanks so much for joining us, Rochelle, and we are really excited to have you with the organization and would love to take a little bit of time to get to know you a little bit better.
Thank you. I'm so excited.
So to get started, why did you decide to start working for the Detroit Zoological Society?
So this answer kind of has two parts. On a surface level, I love the zoo. Such great memories of coming here as a kid, and who am I kidding? Coming here as an adult, as a teenager. The fun doesn't have to stop. But as I got older, really learning about all the conservation work that's done here, how much the zoo prioritizes animal welfare. I was so excited the second I saw the job posting go up. I feel like I kind of manifested it, because as soon as I saw that job listing, I talked about the position as if it were mine. I was just so excited, so ready to get started. And thankfully it all worked out. Now that I'm here, I'm just right along with DZS's mission, giving people really memorable, but also meaningful experiences.
So you've been here like a few weeks now. Do you have a favorite experience in those past few weeks since you've started?
Oh, these are tough. A favorite, single out a favorite. I would say the people. My onboarding experience has been so thorough. I would have never anticipated how large this organization is. And with my onboarding, I just got to meet so many people, a lot over Zoom, like what we're doing right now. But everyone is so passionate about what they do and the department that they are in. And that is just such a rewarding thing, to be in a positive work environment, to have that kind of incredible atmosphere with really positive, passionate people.
So speaking of favorites, do you have a favorite zoo animal? And if so, why?
Is this a trick question? Will this get me fired?
I have very strong opinions, but I don't have the power to do anything about them. So no, you're safe.
I feel like this is when parents are told not to pick a favorite child. Okay, I think I'm gonna go penguins, and that is just because their waddle is so irresistible. Like, is it even possible to be in a bad mood while you're watching penguins? I don't think it is. But I also just did a press release on our new wallaby, Joey. I don't know if that's in the newscast here, but ooh, that Joey might surpass a penguin. It was pretty cute.
The correct answer is prairie dogs, but thank you for sharing.
Sorry. Next time I'll get that right. Hold on.
I'd make a strong case for frogs, but you know. So when you're not here at the zoo and helping us communicate out our mission and all of the things that we do with the community, what are your favorite things to do outside of work?
I would have to say spend time with my dogs, and there's such a contrast between the two of them. It's quite hilarious. One is a Great Dane Mastiff mix, and then the other one is a breed I've probably only had two people tell me that they're even remotely familiar with. Actually, let me grab a photo here. Revealing the office. Okay, so I don't know if you can see how large the Mastodon is in the middle there. And then the little Basenji, you're also seeing you guys, Claire and Stephen. So yeah, they just could not be more different in size, and then also just temperament and personality. Jack the Mastodon is the guard dog, and he's got this bark that will rattle your eardrums. And then Basenjis are actually incapable of barking. There's something with their like larynx, don't quote me on that, but they just can't produce that roof sound. So he's vocal, but it's more of a yodel. And the two of them together is just hilarious.
That's wonderful. So, what are you looking forward to accomplishing in your role here?
Oh, I think bring a balance. And that's something, the average person watching this may not think about. But there are so many adorable animals here, and so many things that just make you go, oh, it's so cute, or it's so beautiful, or so majestic, or whatever it may be. And you wouldn't believe the amount of pictures that pour into my office from staff, from volunteers or docents, but even just visitors who upload, and we just have all these Flickr albums and social media tags to look at. But we do so much more than that. So as the person responsible for communications, responsible for what goes on social media, responsible for what becomes a press release, you can't just have the, oh my goodness, it's so beautiful, majestic, cute. We need to spread our messaging. I want just as many people to feel a call to action as they do this, animal love, like want to squeeze cheeks response. So it's a tough job, but we do so much here with sustainability, with animal welfare and conservation. that science is so important to us, and making you feel compelled to get out and join us is also such a big aspect. But just finding that balance, because I can get suckered into a good penguin video, but I also, want DZS's efforts to be highlighted.
So as someone with a background in news, what advice do you have for us as newscasters?
Yeah, I was a journalist for 8.5 years in Indiana, South Carolina, most recently up in Flint, Michigan. Be prepared to have possibly a funky schedule. Very few people in news, if you're interested, are 9 to 5. You have your morning news, you have your evening news. So morning people, which is what I was, surprise, I know it's probably a shocker. Typically they work about 3 o'clock in the morning to 11 a.m. Morning shows are getting so long. Mine was 4:30 to 9 every day. So I was nocturnal. I was in bed super early. And then if you're evenings, you're typically anchoring the 5, 6, 10, and 11. So it's really hard. Imagine if you have a family. Imagine if you're a parent, you are missing your kids coming home from school, doing homework, dinner, any practices, rehearsals, that sort of thing, and you're missing tucking them in. So news is very demanding schedule-wise. So advice would be to keep that in mind. It's not nearly as glamorous as you may think on the surface level, but also not to be what you think you're supposed to be. The arms crossed, very authoritative, everything, every sentence in the same tone, same inflection. Be personable, embrace the banter, have fun with it. I know you guys do this. It's one of the bajillion things you do, but I love that. You make it so relatable and so fun. And that is something I think all aspiring journalists should keep in mind.
That's great advice. I mean, Steve and I were talking earlier, it's been almost a whole year now that we've been doing DZS News, and we haven't missed a weekend yet, but it's been a lot of fun. It's been a bright spot, at least in my week. I'm not going to speak for Steven.
Hey, that's a long time for a news team to be together. A year? It's good stuff.
And I will say, I don't think anybody would accuse us of being too professional on DZS News. So I think we're, given your advice, we're in the right position.
You're on the right track. On the right track.
News should be fun. I mean, and that's the cool thing about the zoo news, right? I mean, there's a lot of good news to share out here. So it's a lot, you can have fun with it.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much, Rochelle. We know that, you have just dived right in and have so many projects you're working on. So for you to take the time to talk with us, we just really appreciate it. And we're both incredibly excited to have you as part of the DZS team, and really excited to see the great work that you accomplish here.
Thank you both. And in my past life, this would have been bedtime. Now, not only is it not bedtime, I could go get dinner, I could take the dog for a walk, maybe watch a show I DVR'd. Oh, DZS thing, working out great.
Thanks, Rochelle.
Claire, I really think that we might need to, as DZS News anchors, step our game up a little bit. So yeah, want to make sure that we still have these positions in a couple of weeks. But anyway, thank you, Rochelle. And moving on, let's do a virtual education program preview. Claire, what do we have?
As always, starting off your Monday morning with DZS News, bringing you all the breaking news alerts from our front of the park.
Next up on Tuesday is Saving Wildlife, and we will be focusing on salamanders.
This is a really cool story. This is a local conservation project that's done at the Holly Recreation Center, which is not too far from the Detroit Zoo. And we got some front page footage here of how that's all working together. So we're excited to share that story out. On Wednesday, we have our virtual habitat chat, and we'll be featuring the great apes of Harambe.
And the reason for doing this right now is that Saturday, May 15th, is actually Endangered Species Day. And so we wanted to feature a habitat that is home to 2 endangered species, gorillas and chimpanzees. And so in addition to the habitat chat component, we'll also be focusing on things you can do to help gorillas and chimpanzees in the wild.
There's a whole story there too that we should cover another time about the evolution of that habitat space in itself. I mean, it's undergone some incredible changes over the years. Really a neat progression.
On Thursday, the Green Journey episode is on water bottles. You might wonder why when you visit the Detroit Zoo, you can't find single-use plastic water bottles? We'll give you the answer on Thursday.
And wrapping up the week on Friday, we're continuing our short film project series. We've shared with you last week one about wolves and climate change, and this week we are featuring frogs and climate change. This one was a lot of fun to put together, a little tongue-in-cheek in there, so it's definitely worth a watch.
And as a reminder, the Belle Isle Nature Center's virtual backyard is freely accessible on their website. And this is a place where you can find video lessons and quick tips that will help you build a sense of connectedness with and take actions to help local wildlife like birds and bees. And one example is a great video that was created by our Nature Center's manager and field conservation officer, Aaron, on actions that you can take to welcome bees into your backyard and make sure that they stay and thrive.
So typically around this time of year, we have teachers and community groups reaching out to us as they're trying to do career fairs at their schools or at their organizations. And this year, to help out with not being able to do those in person, we assembled a whole section of interviews, skills, and activities that youth can explore about different careers at the Detroit Zoological Society, some of the career paths that people took to get there, some of the skills they use on a regular basis. All of it's free and accessible to anyone who would like to access it. And it is available on our webpage under the Education tab. So please feel free to share that resource out to anybody who is looking to share different career opportunities and raise awareness amongst youth in our area about different careers, not only here at the Detroit Zoological Society, but other skills that you need for future careers.
All right, that is all for this week's episode of DZS News. Thank you so much for joining us. And as always, stay healthy, Detroit.